This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, Rusty here. Thanks for tuning in to our latest video on our Meteo Mundo channel. A lot to talk about for today, friends. We're going to get into the rain that's happening in the Bahamas right now. I'm going to be talking about the rest of the Caribbean, Jamaica. I promise I got you covered across all the islands as well. And by the way, there's a specific forecast you want. You say, hey, Rusty, I live in Trinidad, or Rusty, I live in St. Kitts and Nevis. Give me this forecast. I'm curious about what's going to be happening in my area. Drop it in the comments below, like the video. I got you covered. We're going to start off with what's happening right now. This is a live look to the radar on this Tuesday afternoon in the Northwest Bahamas. I've mentioned this the last couple videos. It's going to be very wet for the Northern Bahamas for the next several days. We're seeing that right now. Walker's Key, Grand Bahama is covered up right now. The west end is dry at this point in time, but from Lucaya to the east, we've got a lot of rain, and that continues for the offshore waters as well on over towards Bimini. There's Andros, San Andros, and Andros Town, some scattered showers there. Nassau is dry currently, but again, a good chance for rain across the area as we go through the day. Same thing for Eleuthera as well. So that's the live radar look. We'll get more into this in a minute, but I just want to start off with the fact that it's already pretty wet out there in the Northwest Bahamas. Now, we're still tracking two areas in the Atlantic Basin. We still have Philippe, and then we have the area in red with a high chance of development right behind it. Now, Philippe has gotten interesting in the track, but I want to say this right now. It's not a big deal because Philippe is going to weaken as it tries to swing a little bit more to the west. So here is the latest from the Hurricane Center. Philippe is a tropical storm right now. Notice what's happening is as it gets up to the north, it really begins to slow down, and then the Atlantic ridge of high pressure begins to push Philippe off towards the west. But as it is doing so, it is losing strength, it's losing tropical characteristics, it's beginning to fall apart overall. So I'm not concerned about the Northern Leeward Islands, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico out of Philippe because this is a weakening system as it tries to move off to the west. Could it bring a little bit better chance for some rain? Absolutely. But is it going to bring even tropical storm conditions to these areas? No. Northern side of the islands, the sea conditions will be kicked up late into the week and into the weekend. But that's really about it as far as what's happening with Philippe. Now, again, we have our next area of interest on the heels of Philippe. This one could be the R-named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. That is Rena. But again, as it moves north and west, the track should take it well away from the Windward and Leeward Islands, including Anguilla and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands as well. Let's take a look real quick actually at that future track radar. Put that into motion for you right now, and you'll start to see again what is left over of Philippe, which isn't much, is going to try and move kind of to the west. We're going to have this second system almost get very close to where Philippe is and almost kind of absorb it. That's also a potential where what could become Rena actually kind of sucks in the remainder of Philippe. Notice the GFS model doesn't even take it as far west as the Hurricane Center's track. So there is some question marks as to what happens with Philippe. And this is Philippe right here. Let me just go ahead and pause it. This is what's left over of Philippe. Notice that the GFS really fizzles it out well in north and east of the islands rather than even pushing it farther off to the west. But what's interesting with the GFS model is basically on the heels of that, Rena gets going and spins up a little bit more. Now, it's still fairly far away from the islands. And again, we don't have even a tropical depression out of this as of yet, but just going off the GFS model from Anguilla, putting it to what could be the center of Rena, we're still more than 500 miles away, okay? And again, this is going to be into early next week, October the 2nd. So we'll be monitoring the situation, but at this point in time, even if Rena wants to try and spin up, looks like it's going to be staying well away from the islands. Let's talk about rainfall across the Caribbean for the next couple of days, and we'll start in the Bahamas right now. And again, it's going to get wet, guys. It's been wet. We'll take a look at the accumulated chances for rain as far as the amounts coming up here in just a second. I'm just switching the GFS model to only go out for the next couple of days, but you can see for tomorrow, more rain moving in from west east. I mean, look how wet it could potentially be for Grand Bahama and Abaco and Andros and New Providence. We're talking about widespread showers, a few embedded storms, but locally heavy rain. Any one location could get more than an inch of rain, and the rain chance stays 80% or even higher the next couple of days. Again, there's a lot of tropical moisture coming in from the south. If I zoom this out a little bit more, you can see that moving through the western side of Cuba, the Straits of Florida, and then into the Bahamas. And then as we get into the northwest side of the Caribbean, my friends in Jamaica, let's zoom in for you guys here over the next couple of days. It'll be scattered showers for Kingston and Jamaica overall. We're going to get some rain in the afternoon hours. That's going to help out our temperatures. It's so hot right now in the afternoon with highs running mainly in the mid 90s. And a few showers are out there, but if you're looking for some of the heaviest rain, it's going to stay off to the west, at least initially. So Cayman Islands out to the west towards the Yucatan Peninsula. So for Jamaica right now at this point in time, just a few scattered showers the next couple of days. That's also what I expect as well for places like San Juan and Ponce in Puerto Rico, and then for Hispaniola, the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo on over towards Port-au-Prince in Haiti. We'll see some scattered showers, mainly developing in interior locations with the heat of the day, but again, nothing extremely prominent. And even in the northern side of the Leeward Islands here, a little bit better chance for some rain as the moisture from Philippe gets a little bit closer, but we're not looking at anything organized right now. So for Barbuda and Antigua, and by the way, if you live in these areas, I would love to hear from you. Let me know what it's like. Let me know tomorrow, hey Rusty, we did get a couple of showers on our Wednesday, or no, we stayed dry. Always want to hear that information from you, from where you live. I think it's so neat to hear from the people who live in these areas that we're forecasting for. Same thing for the southern Windward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago. A little bit better opportunity for Trinidad with some showers coming off the mainland there. So again, for this area, as we get especially into Thursday, we're going to get a little bit better chance for some showers. Now, I want to get back to the Bahamas, and we'll look at this kind of overall for everyone, but I'm going to switch this as well over to what's going to be our accumulated precipitation. All right, so we're going to be taking a look at how much rain are we getting over basically the next 54 hours. So basically a little bit more than 2 days. This is going to begin to run. And again, we've got our scale up here. Basically anything as we get into the grays and then into kind of the oranges, that's heavier rain. That's going to be 3 inches plus just the next 2 days. And that opportunity is going to be there up towards Walker's Key and maybe even Grand Bahama as well. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go out a little bit further in time, as a matter of fact. I'm just kind of curious myself, really. If I extend this out all the way, let's say about 4 or 5 days out in time, again, with the tropical moisture coming in, and by the way, there's no chance for development anymore in the Gulf of Mexico. Never really bought into that, but we're talking about a lot of tropical moisture coming into the northwest Bahamas for the days ahead. And we are going to say 3, 4, maybe even 5 inches of rain for places like Marsh Harbor, Spanish Town, Walker's Key, West End, Freeport, and Lucaya, maybe even as far south as Nassau. So if you have any interest in those areas, keep that in mind. And again, it's going to be very wet for the southern side of the Gulf of Mexico. And then for our friends in Jamaica, again, we lose the island here because this is 100% opacity, and I'm working on changing that. But you get an idea that late in the week, we're going to get some heavier rain. The opportunity to actually get maybe up to 2 inches of rain in a couple of spots between now and Saturday across places like Kingston and in Jamaica. Again, I'm gonna let this model run one more time. I'll pause it. You see the areas in purple, that's the northwest sides of the island. You're looking at more than an inch of rain, but in some locations, I think we could sneak out even 2 inches of rain. And then a zoomed out shot, you see there's Puerto Rico right there, where we could have some inland heavier amounts. Nothing significant, no flooding expected at any of these areas. For the Windward and the Leeward Islands, Dominica, Martinique, the opportunity that we could see some heavier rain locally there as well. Again, it's not going to be very concentrated in nature, but that opportunity will continue. I'm going to actually zoom out one more time, show you the broad Atlantic, put that into motion for you. One more opportunity. And again, we've talked about the heavy rain in the Bahamas, the scattered showers for Kingston and Jamaica, a little bit heavier rain down in the southern Windward Islands. And then I'll be watching very closely Philippe, but again, more than likely Philippe dying out a bit, and then Rena coming on the heels of that. And then what might Rena do as far as strength and track as we get into the weekend and early next week. That's one of the big things I'll be monitoring. But again, if you want the forecast in your area, drop the comment below. Make sure you like the channel and subscribe. We're doing new content all the time, specific content for specific areas as well. So again, if you live in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, look out for those. If you have areas of interest in places like Puerto Rico and Jamaica and the Dominican Republic and the Bahamas, but even the Windward, the Leeward Islands, we got you covered. Again, drop that comment. We will give you that forecast. We promise you that. Thanks for tuning into the latest video. Again, please like and subscribe. We appreciate that. That helps us out a lot. We'll see you next time right here on Meteo Mundo.